like to invite anybody from the public who wishes to address the council on the items listed on the agenda for public discussion to please come up and identify yourselves.
Hi, Des Martinez, advocate for homeless in Fresno. I know this is in regards to the gouging, the price gouging, but I want to know what's going on with the homeless. I haven't heard anybody speak on it. I want to know if we're going to stop all the evictions to prevent more homelessness, if we're going to stop all the sweeps, stop the sweeps. This will increase spreading the virus if there are any individuals that are out there in the streets right now that have it. Stop all triages from doing exits after the 90 days. There's a couple hundred people that are getting ready to exit. Stop all those so they're not put back on the streets. Have you guys secured motels and hotels? And if so, where? And if so, when can we start moving people in? There's a lot going on out here. I know you guys have a lot on your plate, but I don't hear anybody speaking about the homeless. I don't hear anybody speaking about that. I hear people complain, but this is a crisis going on right now in our city, and we need to come together and do something about the homeless immediately if we are so scared about the spread and we're shutting things down. So when can I get some help? I need a team. I'll go out there and do it myself. I need a team. I need supplies of hand sanitizer wipes, hand sanitizer bottles, water, and food. Right now I'm hitting the camps. People are getting sick. I don't know if it's because of the weather change, the flu, or if there's a spread. I don't know. I don't have the testing kits, and I don't have flu kits to even give them. So I just want to know if the city is doing anything regarding the homelessness and the coronavirus here. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the public wish to address the council? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the council. Do I have a motion?
So with that, Council President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the emergency declaration by the Mayor of Fresno, and then likewise approve the price gouging ordinance that we are voting on today.
Second.
The motion's been made by Councilmember Chavez, second by Councilmember Carbasi. Given that we have two members of the council via phone, this vote must be roll call. City Clerk, will you take roll call?
Councilmember Bredefeld?
Yes.
Councilmember Chavez?
Yes.
Councilmember Esparza?
Aye.
Councilmember Carbasi?
Absolutely.
Councilmember Soria?
Yes.
Council Vice President Caprielio?
Yes.
And President Arias.
Yes. The item is unanimously approved. Now we will hear from the mayor after a quick introduction from myself. Thank you all for being here. Mic check, 1, 2. Today we stand here as a unified voice with our city leaders, our mayor, and our city staff. As you can see from this council meeting, we are practicing the guidance that's been given by CD of social distancing. But we are ready to work together as a city council, as a mayor, and a city staff to do whatever it takes during this delicate time. No physical or political distance among the city council or the mayor will get in the way of us taking unified actions to protect our city. As such, today, the city council made the thoughtful and necessary decision to declare a state of emergency in the city of Fresno. As public servants, we're all committed to protecting our neighborhoods and the quality of life of each one of our residents. We knew upon taking the oath that one day we would be called to lead in times of crisis. Today is that moment for our city. I'm confident that through the challenging time, we will see the best of our community's character. I trust that our better side will prevail and we will be stronger and a more unified city than we were prior to the coronavirus pandemic. In that spirit, and as per the powers vested in us by our city charter, the City Council has declared a state of emergency, granting our Mayor, Lee Brand, full authority to aggressively ensure the health and safety of our city. We also have authorized all the necessary resources needed to address this crisis as we await support from the federal and state agencies. I want to remind everyone that these stressful times, we have to keep things in perspective and stay calm. The vast majority of people who contract this virus recover from it and go on to live normal lives. We must, of course, take every precaution to protect our most vulnerable, but we must also have every reason to believe that we will get through this crisis if we stay calm and work together. As the mayor, city manager, and their team focus on the coronavirus crisis, our city council will continue to meet regularly to ensure the day-to-day business of our city continues as normal as possible. I want to thank the mayor, the city manager, and her staff for working closely with the council these past 2 weeks and incorporating our concerns, our ideas, the actions in the city's response. Mayor Brand, you have our full confidence as we prepare for the circumstances on the ground that we know will get worse before they get better. As we enter this difficult chapter in our city, I also ask our residents to watch out for one another, especially our most vulnerable elderly, and stay connected to science-based facts our government agencies provide. For those younger residents, including our millennials, I ask you to stay home and save our most vulnerable neighbors, like our grandparents. Staying home at this point will save lives. With that, I'd like to introduce our Mayor, Lee Brand, to address the crisis of the coronavirus before our city. Mayor.
Good afternoon. It's probably the biggest decision that I've made, that this council will make, and one of the biggest decisions in the city's history. So thank you all for being here today. I know this is an anxious time for all of us, and the situation seems to change by the hour. But I want everyone to know that the leaders here today are doing everything we can do to help guide our city through this crisis. The city manager, the city council, and the employees of the City of Fresno are completely united in our actions. More than anything else, I ask the people of Fresno to remain calm during this highly unusual, confusing, and stressful times. We're all in this together. Please understand that the precautions we are taking and asking you to take are done with an abundance of caution. And the better job we do now in containing the spread of the coronavirus, the faster we will recover and the faster we will be able to return to normal lives. As you know, yesterday the County of Fresno declared a state of emergency in a move designed to give the county easier access to the funding that President Trump and Governor Newsom are making available to local government during this pandemic. It was the right move at the right time, given that there are 2 confirmed cases of the novel coronavirus, or known as COVID-19 in Fresno County, and according to the County Public Health Department, that number is expected to rise in the near future. The California Emergency Services Act establishes procedures for proclaiming emergencies and for responding promptly to the needs that arise during these emergencies. The City of Fresno's Emergency Services Ordinance, Article 5 of the Fresno Municipal Code, became effective March 4th when Governor Newsom declared the state of emergency for the state of California. The ordinance creates the City of Fresno Office of Emergency Services, which is led by the city manager, while the City Council becomes the Emergency Services Council. As the mayor of Fresno, it is my responsibility to provide leadership for city government, to oversee city finances, execute and enforce all laws, ordinances, and policies of the city, and to bring us together as a community to work in harmony. Per Section 2-503A of the Fresno Municipal Code, I have proclaimed the existence of an emergency, and the City Council has unanimously confirmed such emergency. At this point in time, the emergency declaration is being made only for the purposes of being eligible for federal and state assistance to help the city and her residents respond to the impacts of the various measures that will be taken to respond to and slow down the spread of the coronavirus. This is not a fiscal emergency for the purposes of withdrawing funds from city reserves. I have discussed this with the council, and if the situation changed, we've agreed that we will take the necessary steps to access the city's reserves. We will continue to monitor the disease and support the governor's office and Fresno County health officials as they work to do what's best for our community. I believe this is a sensible step to ensure the City of Fresno is in the best position to be eligible for federal and state funding connected to this pandemic. In addition to the emergency declaration, the City of Fresno is taking the following steps to mitigate the growth of the coronavirus and to help our residents and businesses avoid financial hardship. Sunday, the city manager, Wilma Kwan, announced the temporary closure of Fresno Chaffey Zoo through the end of the month. Based on recommendations from the governor's office and the California Department of Public Health, the city will prohibit any public event of 50 or more people until further notice. Effective today, we have closed the convention center, including all events at Selden Arena, Soroyan Theater, in cooperation with our venue partner, ASM Global. We will follow the governor's recommendations for closing bars and modified occupancy for restaurants. Thankfully and hopefully, everyone is complying, and I want to thank our local promoters and event organizers for working with us to limit the potential for exposure. We've also canceled all city-produced events or conferences of more than 50 people, and the city will not issue any new special event permits until further notice. We are deploying additional cleaning and disinfectant measures, including the disinfecting of all City Hall public counters at least twice a day, in an effort to limit the spread of the coronavirus. The airport has stepped up its cleaning and sanitizing protocols, and our fax buses are cleaned and sanitized on a daily basis. Let me update you on our response to some specific challenges that have come up recently. Consistent with the duty to provide safe and healthy work environment and provide the same for our people we interact with, the city has issued a new administrative order, attendance and COVID-19 virus effective today, that modifies our attendance policies to approve leave for employees who stay home because of either the employee or a member of their immediate family presents symptoms of the coronavirus. Additionally, the administrative order provides procedures in the case of employees experiencing or exhibiting any coronavirus symptoms. Last night, city employees over the age of 65 and those with health vulnerabilities were directed to stay home and with pay and wait for further instructions regarding their assignments. On utility bills, there will be a 30-day moratorium on shutting off any water or garbage service for lack of payment to help those who have been affected by the coronavirus. And let me say unequivocally that the City of Fresno's water supply has not been affected. We sanitize our water system every day. Our water is as safe or safer to drink than any bottled water. On business license tax, we're delaying payment deadlines to May 30th for payments due on April 1st and considered late after April 30th. On our parks, as I said last week, parks are remaining open at this time. Some of our park staff have been redirected to assist with customer service and custodial functions in the parks to ensure restrooms are disinfected and stocked and our parks are as safe as possible. The community centers are closed until further notice, and in cooperation with the Fresno Madera Area Agency on Aging, our senior meals program has moved to home delivery. We are working closely with the community organizations that operate our centers, and they are modifying their programs. Fresno Unified. Fresno Unified is planning to provide hot meals to their qualifying students and make them available for parents to pick up with some type of drive-through service at all our school sites. Police Chief Andy Hall has assigned police officers to assist the traffic control associated with these pickups. We're also offering the same assistance to all other school districts in the city that may have the same issue. Code enforcement, the city attorney has suspended interior rental inspections for the time being. The city attorney and code enforcement are also investigating complaints of price gouging. it is illegal to raise the price of essential goods, services, and lodging more than 10% after emergency has been declared. If you suspect a business is price gouging, please call 311 or the City Attorney's Office at 621-8400. On homelessness, we are in the process of providing additional sanitation measures to protect this vulnerable population, and we are considering other options recommended by the governor. On grocery stores and supermarkets, we're looking at options to make sure that people over the age of 65 and other vulnerable populations have safe access to get groceries and other essentials to survive. We will announce measures as soon as possible. Eviction Moratorium. We understand that the state legislature and governor have approved a temporary ban on evictions for people impacted by the coronavirus. The important thing for the people of Fresno to know is that no one is going to be forced to move from their home during this crisis. City Hall remains open to the public, but in an effort to reduce the number of visitors, the City of Fresno offers a variety of online options for anyone wishing to conduct business with the City of Fresno. Our communications staff will provide you with a list of online port platforms and services. We also urge the public to use our Fresno application to report issues on the streets and neighborhoods. All of us, myself, the council, city manager, administrative staff, are in constant communication with each other, as well as the other county health officials, our neighborhood cities, my fellow big city mayors, the governor's office, our state and federal leaders, to evaluate and consider and adopt the best available practice to manage and contain the spread of the coronavirus, to protect lives, and also to do the best that we can do to lessen the impacts of these various measures they have on the people of Fresno. I am grateful for the leadership and integrity of our city manager, Wilma Kwan, who has shown impressive skill and boundless patience in this emergency, including me, and the diligence and focus of the executive team who've worked tirelessly over the days to deal with this crisis. I also want to offer my sincere thanks to our city council members who have worked hand in hand with me and my staff to ensure we are handling this crisis with reason and calm. There are other people to thank, and at the top of that list are the leadership of Fresno County, starting with Public Health Director Dave Palmaville, Interim Health Officer Dr. I got his name, Rasi Vohan, I hope I got that right, I'm sorry. County Administrator Jean Rousseau have been exceptional at communicating the seriousness of this situation without raising the level of anxiety. And to each and every one of our amazing city employees, thank you for maintaining the focus where it should be and serving the needs of our community. During this ever-changing situation, the well-being of everyone in our community is our number one priority. We will continue to monitor the disease and support the governor's office, Fresno County health officials, as they work to do what is best for our community. The best leaders lead by example. And for that reason, I will balance the governor's request for people over the age of 65, including me, to stay at home and my duties as mayor to run this city. I will not be attending non-essential public meetings, and I will be working at home as much as possible where I am able to communicate seamlessly and effectively with my city manager and my staff and council members. I ask everyone in Fresno to stay calm and stay informed while we navigate the unsteady waters of this crisis. Just as the City Council and I are united and working together, I ask you to do the same. Together we can weather this storm. We will face challenges ahead, and it will take time, but there is a path to recovery. Thank you, and I'd like to now bring back up Miguel Arias, our council president. And I want again to thank you for our city manager and our staff, and thank you for the council.
Thank you, Mayor. This officially concludes our emergency special meeting at 3:19 for March 16th, and the mayor, of course, is available for questions. If you would like to do any interviews of council members, we would just simply ask that you do it in the foyer, at each corner of the foyer so we can honor the social distance that we're all concerned about today. But with that, thank you all for coming, and of course the mayor has the mic for the rest of the time if you have any questions.
We'll take any questions. Pardon? Yes, no, there's no quarantine, there's no shut-in. There's, across the state, I meet the big city mayors by phone at least once every couple of days. These things are changing literally by the hour. So we're not at that stage, and I hope that we continue to stay in the lower stage. And it's going to be painful for everybody, but I think it's something we can get through. Well, we're all looking into the unknown right now, and people are making projections across the country, city by city, state by state. But at least so far, there's only been 2 known cases of positive for coronavirus. We're substantially higher in the Bay Area. The risk is substantially higher. I don't want to say that and lax. We want to stay ahead of the curve. I would rather err on the side of caution in our efforts these are aggressive efforts to combat this disease and try to get it done as soon as possible with the least amount of pain for our population. But I do believe that we can get through this. We don't want people to panic. We've got unified leadership at the City of Fresno, and we're going to get in the right place. Not yet, but I guarantee we will. I don't know how much. The current recommendation by the governor, and again, this changes day to day, is that on restaurants they're allowed to do takeout and delivery, and they're allowed to take half of their occupants. So if they are allowed to have 100 people, they can take 50 people, and they also have social distancing of at least 6 feet between tables. So that's a compromise effort. Other cities are not even doing that. They're closing down restaurants. Our current position now is we're closing down bars, but following the governor's guideline on restaurants. And again, all these measures are subject to change. If the governor comes out with a mandate, we have to comply. There's been a discussion. I've had discussions with my fellow big city mayors yesterday and today. There's discussions at the council level. So we're going to this is our initial position, and we're going to play it by ear and do what we have to do, what's necessary to get past this problem. That will be our Fresno Police Department. We're not certain yet, and we can report back in a few days, but the council members and I myself are concerned about people 65 and older, people with handicaps and disabilities, and their access to get food. Some are literally unable to get food. So we want to get this thing, the fear and the panic out of it, get back to a normal supply chain, and we want to make special allowances that the most vulnerable populations can get access to food. Well, that's being explored right now. The main issue would be being sanitized situations. There's some potential recommendations by the governor that they're still looking at that are more sweeping. So I want to get into that right now because I don't know where it's going to end up at. Pardon? I don't know if that's addressed in this deal. So we're trying to, the goal is to protect our entire population, including the homeless, and whatever is necessary to do that, we're going to try to enact. Other cities are doing similar measures. Nothing's been done yet. But under the broad powers of this, both the governor and our city manager, they can commandeer, and not just for potentially for homeless, but other purposes too. You want to answer that question, Andy?
Good afternoon. One of the questions is, I think, is what's our plan to impact the closure of bars and restaurants? Right now, obviously, we're seeking a voluntary compliance. We're asking restaurant owners to limit their capacity to 50% of their level of capacity they have now, and all bars that are just bars that don't serve food will be closed. We will be working with the code enforcement officers to seek voluntary compliance. However, if they refuse, then there will be a citation or arrest. Yeah, the Fresno Police Department is still open for business. We'll be taking phone calls in our dispatch center. They can call the non-emergency line and make a complaint. Yeah, we'll be putting additional officers out in the street. We'll be redeploying some officers, and depending on how this pandemic progresses, we may be redeploying our detectives to patrol duties.
Mayor, we actually have reporters who are working remotely. Brianna Calix from the B wants to know if you can get a clarification on the eviction moratorium. So far, the governor has not officially.
Well, it's the governor and his staff are discussing this for the last 2 days. I believe Senator Wiener and Ting have also apparently have emergency legislation coming that would be here I'm told by this week, that would protect both residential residents and commercial residents. And basically, nobody's going to get evicted or lose their home because of an outcome of the coronavirus. And the actual details will be coming. So I'm fairly certain that'll be coming.
We have approximately 80 employees that are 65 or older, and we're still analyzing how many have a chronic condition that this impacts.
On Thursday, the council discussing delaying the. First of all, is that still planned to discuss on Thursday?
I'll defer that to the council.
Yes, I do believe we're still sponsoring that resolution. We have great concerns about the implementing the new system, the new security system for the employees. We don't know how fast it'll be, how backed up the line will be, how long they'll be congregated within 2 feet of each other as they go through the line. And so right now, I think we have to take all precautions. We must protect all human life, including our employees, from COVID-19. I'm not sure about that language.
Right now, it's just for city employees.
The volume is a lot higher for employees at one time than the public, but we are committed to protecting everyone.
David, if I may speak for the council on this. Today, we heard from the mayor on a series of actions that he's taking with the authority we've granted him. Any additional actions and some of the actions that he laid out will be codified by an official ordinance that's approved on Thursday. On Thursday, we will also flesh out all the concerns related to the new security measures. So it's premature for us to tell you what the conclusion of that discussion is going to be because it's on the agenda for Thursday.
Those conversations are going on in the governor's office. They're concerned about the supply chain. They're talking to, and what is going on basically is people just taking more than they need. If you're taking 3 or 4 times what you need, and they're causing shortages, and the distribution warehouses are causing shortages. So our goal in Fresno and across all the other cities is bring things back to normal, where things are open, people don't panic, people go on the best they can for their lives, and people can have access to groceries. But most of that's directed by the federal government, by the FAA, so I don't know if we have that much control over that. But the airport's still open. Okay, thank you.